All right, what's up, y'all? It's Wooly here. So, I'm going to show you my double 10K build for electric. You probably do this in just about any healing power, as long as it has 10Ks, right? There's other ways to do it. I'm not going to say this is the only way, right? But here's what I'm running. So you can see both trays. I'm going to tell you why I have it set up that way, and then I'll tell you what other people are running. So, really quickly, here's my loadout, right? You can take a look at it. So we're just running our group heal, our priority, our other group heal with galvanize. We're gonna be running static push for the SC gen, hope wave for the SC gen, group transducer for 10K, metabolic boost 2500, pheromone bloom 2500, empowering pulse, which is a group heal. Um, Really quickly, for this one, when you drop this one, you get the might buff, right? So, let me show you. I went too far. Yep. So you get the might buff the same way as if you drop Beacon of Hope, right? But they do not stack. They do not overlap. So it is possible to get a double buff if you drop Empowering Pulse and you got the cooldown from your artifact for the group cooldown. It'll stack it, I believe. But you can't stack Empowering Pulse and Beacon of Hope. So I recommend Empowering Pulse because you get the same exact might buff you do from this, except this is a much longer cooldown, right? Um, and you just have, to me, I feel like you have a better chance of popping this more often. So just kind of a little piece of information on why I choose to run that over the other one. You're still getting the same might buff regardless. Tesla Ball for the SC generator, because every time it ticks, it generates supercharge. And then Speed Drain, 2500, and Invigorate. So I'm going to show you exactly how I do it, why I do it, what it does. What we are basically working with as far as the supercharge generators, right? Because on my allies, I'm going to be running Constantine as the combat ally, so everybody gets that buff standing in it. I get that damage buff, and then we're going to be running Black Adam for the supercharged generator. You can see supercharged generator abilities generate 35% more supercharge. So every time I'm doing this or this, I'm generating a lot of supercharged Hope Wave. It is a combo, so when you cast it, right, like this, that first hit is your big push. And then you get a couple of small pushes, and then when you finish out the combo, that last one is a big push as well, and you can clip right into static push, right? And then also the flash for the walk it off, so we get that 15% supercharge back. So we're stacking that with obviously scrap, and then the head mod for the 15% supercharge back. So all around, we're just getting constant supercharge. So the idea behind it is we are going to first start out with a 10K. Now, I like to start out because electric doesn't have damage 10K, so just run the heals. Now, if you have a damage 10K, let's say you're like water, you can use Call of the Deep or something else. But here we're just going to be running Invigorate and then Group Transducer. So the reason I start with Invigorate is because it is a much longer cooldown, 60 seconds. Of course, with Scrap, it brings that time down. So I start with Invigorate, and then I will immediately follow up with Metabolic Boost, and then I will just kind of cycle through these as I can. But after I pop Invigorate, I go to Metabolic Boost. I get Tesla Ball running. I drop this. I do my supercharge generators, and then I go into Group Transducer, and I come back and I follow it up with either Pheromone Bloom or Speed Drain. So essentially, I am popping it like this, right? I'm going Invigorate, Okay. Um, why am I doing it that way? I'm basically just going for the supercharged deck, right? Because I'm not necessarily using these for greens. So I'm not using these for greens. These are simply to take advantage of that supercharged generation. Because all I want the greens for is a 10K. Now, obviously, when you're cycling through these, you're going to be getting greens from some of them occasionally. That's fine. It's just a little bit of supercharge, but we're really aiming for these, right? So once you got your 10K ready to go, if you've popped a 2.5, just hang on for a second until greens can actually be popped. So I'm also using Brawling, right? Because that does build quite a bit of supercharge by itself. You watch the little supercharge bar build up with it. So we don't use it a whole lot, but we do use it, right? So let's go ahead and build up our supercharge real quick. You can kind of see what it looks like. So we're going to start. And you can see our 10K is ready again. And our 10K is ready again. So you are going to be getting some greens from the 25. But that's just kind of a little bonus, right? Because we're going for that 10K. Anyway, you get the idea, right? I'll just keep sitting here and doing this, but you get the idea, right? We're popping our 10K. Hold on, my cat's trying to come in. Come on. So we're popping our 10K, and then we're just following it up with the 2500 just to generate supercharge. So that's it. 2500 are not there for greens. You are going to get some greens out of them, but you hit your longest cooldown 10K, and then you follow it up with one of these 2500s, and then just cycle through like that. Every time the 10K is ready, you pop it, and then you follow it up with the 2500, and then you keep popping your 2500s when they're available, so that you can generate supercharge, so that you can get back to your 10K. So you don't have to run it like this. You can just run one. Some people will run two 10Ks, a 25, and a 5K. I personally feel like the 5K just isn't worth it. It just takes too long. Just you might as well just keep popping your 25s and get to the 10K. But that's just my preference. If you like running the 5K, run the 5K. Some people do it that way. And what a lot of people are doing, well, I don't know if a lot of people are doing, but what some people were doing before was running dash attack, because it is a 25 and it is a shield. And so you always have that chance to have it immediately cool down so that you can utilize it again. So the reason I'm not running that is because there's just too many times where you're grounded, because you have to be in movement mode. So you have to be super speed and you have to be in movement mode. So I have to be like this, right? If I'm in the raid and I'm grounded, I can't get into it. And so either that or it's just the game is being the game. DC is being DC, and I can't get into movement mode, you know? And I feel like I end up spending way too much time trying to get into it as opposed to just pushing the button and moving along. So that's why I don't run it. Some people can make it work. I just didn't care for it. So that is an option. You can run dash attack in a 5K and two 10Ks. There's many different ways to do it, like I said. This is just how I'm doing it. What's really important is that you have the allies and you have the artifacts and the mods, right? And so again, Constantine, Black Adam, the Flash. For the artifacts, it's just going to be Page of Destiny, Scrap of the Soul Cloak. I have Gemini. For now, I'm running Purified Pages of the Black. You just get a pretty heavy stat boost overall for your Restoration and Might. And then Purple Healing Ray. So with a build like this, guys, because you're getting a Might buff yourself from all this stuff, you're going to be putting up some numbers, right? So if I go over here, and, you know, so that's book, why it's shifting like that. But that's a lot of might for a healer, right? And the way that I'm spec'd, Jesus Christ. So the way that I'm spec'd is super powered. You always want to be super powered just for the power generation back. Critical healing, restoration. Now, I didn't go over here because I'm not trying to battle heal. So what I did is I put 100 into Dom, and then I put the rest into Might and Power. Because I'm running... Right now I'm running Dom augments because I was water before I switched back to electric, and I haven't bothered to update these augments to the current episode because you really don't need it. Most of the time I'm in there DPSing anyways because everybody wants to heal. But I'm running Dom augments here because you do get the shields when you cycle through it. And I don't know how much it actually helps, but you really don't need the extra restoration. So run Resto if you want. That's just what I'm running. I may change that out, but those are the artifacts, right? And then, of course, like I said, brawling for your weapon. Just for the weapon mastery, just because Shuriken Storm. It does a lot of damage. Well, I mean, it does a lot of supercharge. But you're going to be doing a lot of damage with the might side of it. For a healer, anyways. Like, you're not going to be a top DPS, but if I go into the alert with a tank and 2 DPS, I'm usually right behind the second DPS. If we do, like, ZCCE or MOAE, you know, you're not getting completely dusted as you used to as a healer. But you're not really there to do damage. You're just popping your combo. And just that combo by itself and Static Push and Tesla Ball are putting up a lot of numbers. I'm sure Speed Drain helps with that. So it's not anything significant, but that little bit of extra damage helps to get you through the alert faster. So that's just a benefit of running Book and just stacking all these supercharges and Hope Wave, because you're just getting extra damage out of it while you're healing. So it is kind of a way to battle heal without actually having to battle heal. And I'm not even spec battle heal. Like, I do have some in Might and Power, but like I said, that's just, it's got to go somewhere. I got to put those points somewhere, and it just makes sense to put it into Power. So that is it, guys. That is what I'm running for healer at the moment. I do enjoy the 3 2500s. It comes in handy. So that's all I got for you today. I'll catch you next time. Wooly out. Stay frosty.